Do you ever wonder what damning faint praise actually looked and sounded like? It looks like the Department of Justice in their new filing in front of Judge Menendez in their attempt to, I think, explain away to justify Pam Bondi's ransom letter. I mean, that's what people are calling it. The letter she sent on the 24th of January on the night of Alex Pretty's execution to the governor of Minnesota, basically telling him to change his policies, turn over voter data, turn over Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP entitlement program data, and help the feds capture migrants, or else. It's extortive. How do I know that? Because Judge Menendez, the federal judge who's handling the case brought by the state of Minnesota, thinks it's extortive. She said so in a hearing. She was deeply troubled by the letter, and this was the opportunity for Pam Bondi's Department of Justice, I mean, they do work for her, to put up their best defense and explain it away. And then I read it and I said, where is the defense? Is this yet another example of the Department of Justice, or one aspect of the Trump administration throwing another aspect under the bus? I mean, we just had Kristi Noem, who's this close to being impeached, led by the Democrats, and removed from office and fired. Her defense for what she did, labeling U.S. citizens to be domestic terrorists, to defend ICE and Border Patrol under her command, who execute Americans on the streets. It's not just Alex Pretty and Renee Good. They're the prime examples. There's 38 people that have died under ICE custody. There's hundreds more under Border Patrol. This is a scandal-ridden cover-up organization that she's leading. And she says, I just do what Stephen Miller and what my boss, Donald Trump, told me to do. I was just following orders like any good Nazi soldier. Now let's turn, while you're here on Midas Touch Network and on Legal AF, I'm Michael Popak. Hit that free subscribe button, both here and on Legal AF YouTube. I reported on the ransom letter. And if Donald Trump, for instance, thought that he was helping Pam Bondi, talk about one hand not knowing what the other hand is doing, just before the Department of Justice filed the paper that I'm going to read to you from, to Judge Menendez, barely defending Pam Bondi, our fearless leader had this to say in a social media post going after Mayor Frey of Minneapolis. He said, now, again, remember, this is supposed to be helping the administration. You got a federal judge who believes that there's an extortive quid pro quo by Pam Bondi trying to blackmail Tim Walz to stop the ICE and Border Patrol surge. Donald Trump must know that. Here's what he writes in social media. Surprisingly, Mayor Jacob Frey just stated that Minneapolis does not and will not enforce federal immigration laws. We have an anti-commandeering statute, an anti-commandeering section of the Constitution where the federal administration, the federal agency cannot command